Russian cyber attackers are targeting organizations involved in developing COVID-19 vaccines. That's according to security officials from the U.S., U.K., and Canada. In May, the three countries issued an advisory warning of ongoing cyber attacks against organizations involved in the coronavirus response. Officials say hospitals, research laboratories, healthcare providers, and pharmaceutical companies have all been hit. Today, the government detailed activity by a Russian hacking group called APT-29, which also goes by the name the Dukes or Cozy Bear. The UK's lead technical authority on cybersecurity said APT-29, quote, almost certainly operates as part of Russian intelligence services. And joining us now from New York to discuss this issue is Larry Whiteside, Jr. He is co-founder and president of the International Consortium of Minority Cybersecurity Professionals. Welcome to BNC Prime.
Thank you for having me.
Before we get to the hacking, briefly tell us about your organization, as we don't hear much about people of color involved in the cybersecurity industry.
Yeah, so thanks for asking. ICMCP was built and founded to increase the number of minorities and women in cyber. We recognize that we do not see enough people of color or women that are cyber professionals, and we're trying to do more to get more of us and more women into the field to take advantage of the opportunities.
So when you heard about this hacking, this alleged hacking by the Russians, what were your first thoughts? Did it seem realistic?
It did seem realistic, and to me, it seemed like another attempt at misinformation, right? To take advantage of accounts of high-profile individuals to utilize them to spread more misinformation before the voting.
So you still think you think that this is something to do with the elections, then?
I do, absolutely. If you look at who the targets were, and if you look at how many followers each of them had, to me that directly shows that it's directly related to the upcoming campaigns.
Now, this makes all of us nervous, because if big companies like Twitter can be hacked and the accounts of very high-profile people can be hacked, that means pretty much any citizen is at risk. Isn't that correct?
That is correct. At the end of the day, every individual's got to take some basic steps. So when I first heard about the attack, the first thing I thought about was whether any of them had multi-factor or dual authentication in place, because most social media tools enable that, and that's one of the biggest risk mitigators that you can have in place.
We always hear about changing your password and having upper and lowercase and exclamation marks and all that. Does that really safeguard you against hackers, or is it a matter of if you're going to get hacked, you're going to get hacked?
It's a mitigating control, so it helps a little bit. But if you have two-factor in place, where you have some sort of text that comes to your phone or use some sort of authenticator that on your phone, that's a better protection for you.
Now, we've also been told that, according to AP, the Homeland Security was warned about this activity back in April. Are you aware of anything our government is doing about this, or were they trying to fix the problem ahead of time?
I'm not aware of any direct actions, but the reality is the government is very slammed, they're understaffed, and there are so many threats that are happening on a regular basis. It's hard for them to completely keep up and stay in front of every attack that they get notified about.
Is it possible that the average person is under threat?
Absolutely. Every person that utilizes technology or connects to the internet has some aspect of threat that they potentially face. And it's about every individual taking some sort of basic steps to try and protect themselves and their family.
So you're thinking that people right now should change their Twitter passwords? Because Twitter did say that they did not feel that most people were at risk.
No, I don't think people need to change their passwords because of this particular incident, but I do think that everybody who uses any aspect of social media should at a minimum have two-factor authentication in place.
So moving forward, what kind of industry do you see for your field moving forward? Obviously, more and more companies and individuals are being hacked. What does that mean for your industry? Is there any room for people of color in that industry to perhaps explore innovative ways to prevent hacking?
Absolutely. So first off, the latest report, I think, for this quarter, there were over 300,000 open jobs in the field in the U.S. alone. So there's tons of opportunity for people of color and women to come into the industry. They just have to know what the mechanisms are that will enable them to join the force. And the outlook is, I don't want to say great, but from an employment standpoint, this is one of the few industries that does not have a downside to employment. We haven't had any incidents of real layoffs or anything because security threats don't stop. They don't take vacations. They don't take days off. They're constantly bombarding companies and individuals on a regular basis.
So real quick, what type of education, what do you need to get into the business?
To get into the business really is reaching out to organizations like ours who are going to help guide you down the path of the right training, making the right connections, getting to know the right people. There are lots of effort, and a lot of organizations are really recognizing the importance of diversity in the field. So a number of organizations are reaching out to us and partnering to try and ensure that they are getting more people of color and more women inside of their organizations to help.
So Larry, how can people reach out to you?
Find me on LinkedIn. I'm the only Larry Whiteside Jr. on LinkedIn, so reach out to me, and I'm happy to have a conversation.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate all of your advice and your insights on hacking. Larry Whiteside Jr., co-founder and president of the International Consortium of Minority Cybersecurity Professionals. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Welcome back to BNC World Headquarters. Well, stress and anxiety can wreak havoc on our bodies, and we're certainly seeing the impact during the age of COVID-19. But can emotional stress lead to a broken heart? Britt Conway brings you a small study that says it can.